You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. Welcome to Truist Park. My name's Nicholas Callis. The Chicago Cubs looking to keep pace with the Cardinals in the NL Central, facing a Braves team that's getting back into contention for the NL East. Look at Kris Bryant. We're about ready to get this one started. And on the mound for the Atlanta Braves is a pitcher who was once well known as being the ace of the Seattle Mariners organization. Felix Hernandez, 6-6 in 18 starts with a .447 earned run average. Felix Hernandez also known for throwing the first no-hitter in Seattle Mariners history. But here comes Anthony Rizzo, .263 hitter entering play with a .369 on-base percentage. Also in contention to be in the All-Star game for the National League, coming up less than a week away. The All-Star game coming up on Tuesday. And we're getting so close. It's the weekend. It's Friday, July the 10th. We'll have our games tomorrow, and then our All-Star Week schedule will be released on Saturday night. So you can look forward to that. We'll be giving you the exact times of when the Futures game, the Home Run Derby, and the All-Star game will be. The Futures game and Home Run Derby will be on Monday, July the 13th. And then Tuesday, July the 14th is when the All-Star game will be. All events happening at Dodger Stadium. 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. Down low, counts 2-1. Also some news that happened yesterday that somewhat affects the NL Central, especially its future, is the deal that the Brewers made yesterday with the Toronto Blue Jays. 3-1 on Rizzo, but the Brewers traded one of their top prospects, Bobby Witt Jr., to the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays got Cavan Biggio, Reese McGuire, and Simon Woods Richardson. That was a heck of a trade. Biggio just wasn't getting it going this season with the Blue Jays, so they traded him away. Now Bobby Witt Jr., a 19-year-old shortstop in the Blue Jays system. Rizzo walks. Here comes Daniel Descalso. Better hitter at home, but overall a .287 hitter with 7 home runs and 38 RBIs. Descalso, one of the best players at getting on base this season among National League hitters. He's 5th in on-base percentage with a .410. Outside ball 1 from Hernandez, but the Brewers and Blue Jays executing a deal yesterday, also a couple days ago. The Angels went out and signed Yasiel Puig, and he made his Angels debut yesterday, and we really didn't plan that. It just so happened, though, that Puig got signed on the day that we were featuring the Angels. So he got to make his debut on one of our broadcasts. Freeman, Swanson, back to Freeman, double play. Rizzo out at second, Descalso out at first. That's out number 2. That's outs number 1 and 2, I should say. 2 outs on the play, but here's the starting lineup for the Chicago Cubs. Anthony Rizzo batting leadoff, Kris Bryant in the number 3 spot, and David Bote batting 5th, playing shortstop. Javier Baez is on the injured list. Baez dealing with a dislocated shoulder. He'll be out for at least another month. A couple other big injuries on the Cubs team. Wilson Contreras dealing with some damaged knee cartilage. He'll be out for a little less than a month, but he's been on the 60-day injured list for a while now. And John Lester fractured his arm over a month ago, and he's got about 2 to 3 more weeks to go until he'll be healthy. And this is a situation where the Cubs need to keep winning. The Cubs have a legitimate chance of catching up with the Cardinals for the NL Central lead. If that stays fair, that's gone, but not quite. It's foul. Counts 1 and 2. One-two pitch inside, counts even 2 and 2. Well, the Cubs are 47 and 46 entering play. They're 7 games back of the Cardinals. The Cardinals beat the Rays today, so the Cubs can't do anything but stay put. Stay the same amount of games back if they win today. Strike 3 called on Kris Bryant Top of the first inning over. No runs, no hits, 1 walk in the inning. Nobody left on base. After a half inning, it's the Cubs 0 and the Braves coming to bat. And on the mound for the Cubs, Jose Quintana, veteran left-handed pitcher, former Chicago White Sox. Now pitching for the Cubs. He had a brief stint on the injured list, but came back with little time missed. Has struggled this season, though. 4-8 with a 4.69 ERA in 18 starts. And leading off for the Braves is one of the best players in the National League this season. Ronald Acuna Jr., 330 average, 35 home runs, 72 RBIs with an on-base percentage of .417. He has the most home runs in the National League with 35, and he's in the top 5 in the National League in many offensive categories. We already talked about the Cubs' record being 47-46, second in the NL Central, and as of now, 7 games behind the Cardinals. That's strike 1. But touching on the Braves have a 50-44 record, and they're 3rd in the NL East. The NL East has gotten very competitive. The Phillies were making a run for first place, but they had some rough patches in June that set them back. But right now you have the Nationals in first with a 53-41 record. They lead the NL East. The Marlins are 50-43, 2.5 games back of the Nationals, and the Braves in third place with a 50-44 record. So at this point in the season, it's anyone's division, and we still have a whole second half to play after the All-Star game rolls around. But at this point, the NL East is competitive. High fly ball out to left. That finds the seats. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Fouled off, and Ronald Acuna Jr. staying alive. Acuna Jr. made his Major League debut in 2018, became an instant sensation. Helped the Braves win the NL East in both 2018 and 2019, though neither of those teams got past the NLDS. Braves haven't been World Series champions since the 90s. 3-ball, 2-strike pitch. That's fouled off. The count still full 3-2. 1995, to be exact, was the last time the Atlanta Braves won a World Series. Of course, the Chicago Cubs, not ones to brag too much about being World Series champions consistently, but they have won more recently than the Braves did. Cubs winners in 2016. And Ronald Acuna Jr. adds to his National League leading hit total with a leadoff single in the bottom of the first. Pick-off attempt to first, and safe at first is Ronald Acuna Jr. Ozzie Albies, switch hitter, batting from the right side of the plate. I also watched a documentary of how many Major League Baseball players are from the island of Curacao. And it is so fascinating. Andruw Jones, one of them. Ozzie Albies is another. Didi Gregorius. And if you can look it up on YouTube, I suggest watching it. Curacao, the island that has produced several talented Major League Baseball players. It really is a fascinating story about how the ball got rolling. Strike 1 on Albies. This season not doing too well. You see there, though, he was the Silver Slugger Award winner for second baseman in the National League last season. No ball, 1-strike count. That's inside. Counts even 1-1. Also, Eric Ledford, to answer your question, Bobby Witt Jr. was drafted by the Royals, and he got traded a couple times in the virtual league, but now he's on the Blue Jays. He got traded from the Royals to the Brewers, but we didn't announce that because it was just a prospect trade. But when the major leaguers are involved, that's typically when we notify you. Kris Bryant in foul territory tries to make that play. And they're going to call that an error on Kris Bryant. Oh my, that's a tough error for Bryant. But 2 on, nobody out. Here's Freddie Freeman. .279 hitter entering play, still batting third for this Braves team and still one of their franchise faces. The Braves have produced much talent over the last decade, and yet they have nothing to show for it but a few playoff appearances. The Braves, when they made playoffs in the 2010 decade, they didn't pass the National League Division Series.
Nope.
Counts 1-1. Acuna Jr. on second. Ozzie Albies on first. 1-1 count on Freeman, last year's starting first baseman in the National League All-Star game. And although his numbers are still good, although he might be on the roster, he won't be starting. Most likely the starting first baseman going into the All-Star game next week will be Paul Goldschmidt. Two ball, one strike pitch. That's outside, counts 3-1, but Goldschmidt. Not going to go too in-depth about him because the Cardinals aren't playing in this game, but Goldschmidt has had quite the breakout season this year, and he's in the top 3 of every Triple Crown category. Up the middle, base hit. Acuna Jr. stopped at third, but a bobble by Happ in center. Acuna Jr. will score from second. Albies moves from first to third, and Freddie Freeman is aboard at second base. So score that, a single, and then all the runners move up on an error by Happ, who bobbled the ball out in center. And now here's Marcell Ozuna, grounded to Bryant. Throws to Rizzo, that's out number 1. Meanwhile, Ozzie Albies scores from third. So a productive out for Marcell Ozuna. 2-0 Braves early, and here comes Travis d'Arnaud. .690 OPS entering play, .239 hitters, 7 home runs, 30 RBIs. 6th in voting for catchers in the National League for the All-Star game. That's a strike, counts 0-1. No ball, one strike count on a former New York Met, Los Angeles Dodger, and Tampa Bay Ray. Swing and a miss, counts 0-2. d'Arnaud just signed with the Braves this offseason. Proved his worth last year, really broke out with the Tampa Bay Rays, but this season hasn't gotten his offense going. Swing and a miss. Victor Caratini completes the strikeout, throwing to Rizzo. And Freeman doesn't advance anywhere. So 2 outs, bottom of the first inning. Still 2 runs in for the Braves. And Ender Inciarte will come to the plate. Inciarte, the starting center fielder. The Braves have a crowded outfield. Inciarte, a .259 hitter with 14 home runs and 43 RBIs. He's also entering today on a 10-game hitting streak. So has an opportunity to extend that. Up and in, ball 1, but a crowded outfield for the Braves. Marcell Ozuna out in left. Ender Inciarte in center. Ronald Acuna Jr. in right. And then you have Nick Markakis, who the Braves signed back this past offseason on the bench and getting platoon starts. See there, Victor Caratini going out and talking to Jose Quintana. Quintana, 2 runs given up. One of those runs was earned. The other one not. And they give Chris Bryant a tough error. Now that gets away from Caratini. Freeman doesn't choose to advance. He goes back to second. So a break caught there by the Cubs. Counts 2-0 on Inciarte. Ground ball right side. Into right field. Hayward with a good arm comes up throwing. And look at that. Inciarte's going to drive for second. Caratini cuts him down. Tag applied by Bodie. So, greedy attempt there from Inciarte doesn't work out. And after 1 full inning, the Braves still got 2 runs. They lead the Cubs 2-0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Coming into the second inning, the Cubs trail by a 2-0 score. And the middle of the order for the Cubs is due up to bat. Kyle Schwarber, David Bodie, and Jason Hayward. Felix Hernandez has let up one base runner to this point. He walked Anthony Rizzo to lead off the ball game, but then got a double play, got Bryant to strike out. And here he is now in inning number 2.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Kyle Schwarber, a former catcher in the Cubs minor league system, but was adjusted by the Cubs to fit in the outfield. He's primarily been a left fielder since he's been in the big leagues. Has a plus arm out in the outfield. And despite his appearance and stature, he is very good defensively out in the outfield. Covers a significant amount of range. Again, his arm's pretty good. And he can hit, especially for power. Strong left-handed middle of the order bat for the Cubs. Counts full 3-2 with David Bote on deck. Three ball, 2 strike count. Strike 3 called, well placed pitch. That's out number 1. Second strikeout for Hernandez, and now here's David Bote. Bote batting .261 with 8 home runs and 25 RBIs, and has significantly better numbers against right-handed pitching as compared to left-handed pitching, which is unconventional for baseball in general, but that's how he's operating right now.
Nope.
Bote primarily played third base, although he is versed at shortstop. That's where he's playing now, primarily because Javier Baez is on the injured list. Mentioned that earlier. Baez will be out for another 1 to 2 months. He dislocated his shoulder a few weeks back. The Cubs, despite struggling last season, do have depth in their minor league systems and on their bench as well.
No, that's down.
3 ball, no strike count on Bote with Jason Heyward due to bat next. The Cubs still have talented players. Cubs fighting for a potential division lead and a wild card spot in the National League. They have none yet. They would not make playoffs if the season ended today. Counts full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Cubs also under new manager David Ross, managing in his first year in the big leagues and formerly played for many teams, but the Cubs were one of them. Hernandez strikes out the first 2 batters. David Bote swings and misses at this breaking ball. Now that grip looks like a curveball. Curveball kind of grip, and it got Bote to swing and miss. So now with 2 outs in the top of the second, Jason Heyward will come to the plate. Heyward made his major league debut with the Atlanta Braves, was also drafted by them, was one of their top prospects. He came up and became a sensation initially. Great defensive outfielder. He hit a home run in his first major league at bat. Went on to play for the Cardinals, getting traded to the Cardinals in the 2014-15 offseason. Had a good season with the Cards, and then signed with the Cubs the very next offseason when he became a free agent, and that's where things kind of went downhill for him. While his defense has still been pristine, his offensive numbers have not been, especially not for the contract that he signed with the Cubs. Swing and a miss. Felix Hernandez strikes out the side in order. And the top of the second inning has come to a conclusion. No runs, no hits, nobody left on for the Cubs. And after 1.5 innings, the Braves lead the Cubs 2-0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Bottom of the order due up for the Braves: Dansby Swanson, Austin Riley, and then Felix Hernandez. Swanson has one of the best on-base percentages in the National League. Good at getting on base, and he also is performing at a high rate as compared to his previous years, but has a batting average at .304 entering play, and as you saw in the graphic before, he's stolen a career-high base total this year. He's stolen 10 bases. And the first half of the season, not even technically over yet.
Count is 2-1.
2 ball, 1 strike count on the Braves shortstop from Jose Quintana. Gave up 2 total runs, one of which was earned in the bottom of the first inning. Ground ball left side. Played by Bodie. Throws to Rizzo. That's out number 1. And with that, Austin Riley will come to the plate. Riley batting .317 with 4 home runs and 6 RBIs. And Riley primarily in the lineup because Johan Camargo just could not get it going to start 2020. By the time he got called down, he'd played well over 60 games and had an average under 200. So Riley, being one of the top prospects for the Braves, got called up. And Riley so far has been getting the job done. His offensive numbers are pretty good. We're playing in roughly 30 games now. 1 ball, 2 strike count. In the dirt, count evens up 2 balls and 2 strikes. Got him swinging. That's out number 2. Jose Quintana now with 2 strikeouts.
Batting 9, the pitcher, Felix Hernandez.
So Felix Hernandez will come to the plate. Hernandez has a couple hits, but not much.
Ball 1, no strike.
One of Hernandez's first major league hits was a grand slam he hit with the Mariners way back in the 2000s. Didn't hit very much, though, being an American League pitcher. Certainly focusing on pitching was a strong point for him. One of the best pitchers of modern day with the Seattle Mariners.
Ball 2. Count 2-1.
As mentioned before, Felix Hernandez threw the first no-hitter in Seattle Mariners history back in 2012. That was one of his best years.
Nope, upstairs.
Counts 3-1 now. Hernandez in a hitter's count. Unfortunately, the Mariners organization just hadn't really got it going. Still doesn't really have it going. But Felix Hernandez regarded as having a career that was more or less wasted by that organization. Strike 3 swinging by Hernandez. Jose Quintana strikes out a few and ends the bottom of the second with a strikeout. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on for the Braves. And after 2 full innings, it's 2-0. The Cubs trail. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 7, 8, 9 hitters due up in the Cubs order. It'll be Ian Happ, Victor Caratini, and then Jose Quintana. Cubs trailing early, coming into the top of the 3rd inning. The Braves got both of their runs in the bottom of the 1st inning.
Ball. Count
Freddie
4-0.
Freeman hit an RBI single. And Marcelo Ozuna grounded out, but a run scored. Count even 1-1 on Happ. Switch hitter batting from the left side. Versatile player, can play second base, third base, left field, and right field. And also versatile offensively, being a switch hitter. Happ behind in the count. It's outside. Counts even 2 balls and 2 strikes.
2-2 count.
That's hit well out to right field, but into the seats and foul. Count still even 2-2. Even count on the Cubs center fielder. The pitch from Hernandez. Strike 3 called over the middle of the plate. Looked like a breaking ball, too. Hernandez now with 5 strikeouts, and we'll give you a visual now of the National League Eastern Division. See the Braves 3rd, 3 games back of the Nationals. The Nationals and Marlins haven't played yet today, so that'll have an effect on where the Braves stand after this game, whether they win or lose. But here's Victor Caratini batting .215, entering play. Switch hitter batting from the left side of the plate.
Ball 1.
Caratini in the starting lineup. because Wilson Contreras is on the injured list with some bad knees. Ground ball right side. Ozzie Albies
Got him.
throws to Freddie Freeman. That's out number 2 in the top of the third, and Jose Quintana will come to the plate with 2 outs and the bases empty. Liz Bastuk, hope I pronounced that right. Hello. Two outs, top of the third inning, and here's Jose Quintana. That's a strike count, 0-1. Quintana was acquired in 2017 by the Cubs from the White Sox. That was the deal that sent Eloy Jimenez to the White Sox. Eloy Jimenez was a former prospect in the Cubs organization. Made his major league debut with the White Sox. And speaking of deals, Felix Hernandez signed a minor league contract in the offseason with the Braves, ended up making the team, and that's why he's in their starting rotation now. A lot of commentators speculated that Hernandez might retire. But here he is, pitching for the Braves. Gets another strikeout there. That's strikeout number 6 for Felix Hernandez. After 2.5 innings, the Braves still have a 2-0 lead over the Cubs. We'll go to the bottom of the third. There's Heidi Watney. I bet you show you a graphic. Offensive stats for the Braves so far this year. Well, home runs are a strong suit for them. I'm sure you can see that. Also, stealing bases relatively well, but hitting for average and getting on base, not one of their strong points. Top of the order due up for the Braves in this half inning. Ronald Acuna Jr., Ozzie Albies, and Freddie Freeman due up the bat. Strike one on Acuna Jr., first in the National League in home runs with 35. Up the middle, and Acuna Jr. 2 for 2. Couple singles to open up 2 different innings. And with that, there's Ronald Acuna Jr.'s hit total entering play. It was at 116, but with 2 hits, he's up to 118 now. Ronald Acuna Jr. now has passed Nolan Arenado for 3rd best in hits in the National League. And I correct myself, the graphic said entering play, but Ronald Acuna Jr. entering play came in with 114 hits, but now he has 116. Either way, he passes Nolan Arenado, who had 115, and Ronald Acuna Jr. now 3rd best in the NL in hits behind Paul Goldschmidt. Ozzie Albies 0 for 1. He reached base on an error back in the first inning, and he later came around to score. Ground ball left side. Bodie, Descalzo, Rizzo. That's a double play. Acuna Jr. out at second. Albies out at first.
The first baseman, Freddie Freeman.
So the leadoff single erased. 2 outs on the board, and that'll bring up the number 3 hitter, Freddie Freeman, who drove in a run on a single back in the first inning. Freeman's average jumped up a bit. It's now 281. He's at 25 home runs, and that was his 71st RBI that he drove in back in the first. Talked about before how Freddie Freeman was the starting first baseman in the National League last season during the All-Star game. Not that he was a bad player before, but he really caught the attention of many last season for putting up great numbers. Won the Silver Slugger Award last year for first baseman. He's been a consistent middle-of-the-order bat for the Braves ever since he became a consistent Major League player, and he's been around for a few seasons, too. But still, as long as Freddie Freeman's been on this Braves team, they have never made it past the division series since they've been making playoffs in the 2010s. Freeman grounds out there. No runs, no hits. No runs on 1 hit. Nobody left on for the Braves after 3 full innings. It's a 2-0 Braves lead over the Cubs. Top of the order due up for the Cubs when we come back. Hey, look, we're back. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis, top of the 4th inning. is here. Top of the order due up for the Cubs: Anthony Rizzo, Daniel Descalso, and Chris Bryant. Rizzo tied for 8th in the National League. He's walked 52 times this season. In this system, very stubborn on using the term base on balls instead of walks. Well, labeling them the old-fashioned way. Bases on balls.
You got 2 balls, 1 strike.
2 ball, 1 strike count on Rizzo. This Cubs team hasn't deviated very much from their World Series champion team. Several of the consistent players that made that World Champion team are still on it. Rizzo being one, Chris Bryant another, Wilson Contreras another, Javier Baez another, Kyle Schwarber another name. There's a lot. There's several players still on this team from that championship team. Rizzo strikes out swinging. That's out number 1. Felix Hernandez now has 7 strikeouts. Now, there are a couple updates on some minor leaguers in the Braves systems who are doing well. It's interesting to see how teams will respond now when it comes September time. How prospects will get a chance to play Major League Baseball.
That's a ball.
It's a new rule effect in this year that teams are no longer allowed to have 40-man rosters when September comes around. So none of the September call-ups, as they're referred to as, will be making an appearance. Towards center, that's a base hit. Daniel Descalso on with a 1-out single. But it is a shame for some of the top prospects who used to make their Major League debuts and get a chance to taste Major League Baseball, especially since the minor league seasons end around September. But that won't be the case in 2020. Especially when teams want to trust their veterans to help them get a playoff push instead of the younger, inexperienced prospects. But Chris Bryant Chris Bryant at the plate. Struck out against Hernandez back in inning number 1. Hernandez about to throw his 50th pitch of the game. Outside counts 1-1. One ball, 1 strike pitch. Ground ball left side. Swanson. Albies. To Freeman, that's a double play, and Albies paid the price at second base. Watch this again. He still made a great throw. Descalso with an aggressive slide, a legal slide too. But Albies got the throw off, got an accurate throw over. Bryant out at first. Top of the 4th inning over. Heidi Watney's about to speak again, or not speak. As many of you know by now, but while she's not talking, you're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. This game and all of our games brought to you by MLB The Show 20, and my name is Nicholas Callis. Middle of the order, do it for the Braves in this half inning. Marcell Ozuna, Travis d'Arnaud, and Ender Inciarte. Marcell Ozuna just signed with the Braves this past offseason, formerly played with the Miami Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals. Ozuna was one of the foundational pieces of that Marlins team that had so much promise in the middle of the 2010s, most specifically the 2015 and 16 seasons. But with the Marlins rebuilding, he got traded away to the Cardinals, and when he became a free agent, decided to play for the Braves. Grounded out there. That's the first out of the bottom of the 4th. And with that, Travis d'Arnaud will come to the plate. d'Arnaud was the starting catcher for the New York Mets for the longest time. He made his debut in the early 2010s. Was also the World Series catcher when the Mets went to the World Series in 2015 when they lost to the Royals. But d'Arnaud in 2019, early in the season, got traded from the Mets to the Dodgers. And then played for the Dodgers for less than 5 games. Then he got traded from the Dodgers to the Rays. And d'Arnaud was a big reason why the Rays went to playoffs. He was a feared bat in the order. He just got hot, had a breakout season. And because of his season with the Rays, when he went into free agency, he earned himself a healthy contract with the Braves and some security. Got a multi-year deal with the Braves. Count full, 3 balls and 2 strikes on d'Arnaud. You see Ender Inciarte on deck. Full count pitch. Outside, that's ball 4. 1-out walk issued by Jose Quintana. And that'll bring up Ender Inciarte. Inciarte 1 for 1. He bats here with 1 out and 1 runner on. His hit was a single back in the first, which moved his average up a point to 262. Also has a 767 OPS, on base plus slugging percentage. Quintana gave up both runs in inning number 1, and one of those runs of the 2 was earned. Chris Bryant got hit with a tough error back in the first. And also Ian Happ out in center field bobbled a ball, which allowed Ronald Acuna Jr. to score easily, and that was also scored an error. Out to center, Ian Happ makes the catch. 2 outs, bottom of the 4th. d'Arnaud back to first. And that'll bring up Dansby Swanson. Swanson, the shortstop of the Braves, 0 for 1. Grounded out back in inning number 2, batting for the second time against Quintana in this game in the bottom of the 4th inning. And just a note, too, because of Swanson's offensive excellence this season, it's likely you might see him in the All-Star game as well. He's just been an on-base machine this season. This is a pretty good average, above 300. Still on a career high for him, 10 bases. Still in the first half of the season, technically. He's having a great year, and one of many Braves players that is helping them dig their way out of a slow start to 2020.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Counts 1 and 2. Jose Quintana's pitch. Inside, count even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Travis d'Arnaud on first. He walked with 1 out. And now there are 2 outs. High fly ball toward right. Jason Heyward makes the catch. And that ends the 4th inning. So no runs on no hits, 1 walk in the inning, and 1 runner left on for the Braves after 4 full innings. The Braves lead the Cubs 2-0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. And there's Heidi Watney talking to start the 5th inning, or, well, she's not talking again, which is okay, because I'll do the talking for her. But, yeah, again, this is Major League Baseball's virtual network. This game and all of our games brought to you by MLB The Show 20. My name's Nicholas Callis. Top of the 5th, rolling around, middle of the order, due up for the Cubs. Kyle Schwarber, David Bote, and Jason Heyward. That's strike 1. A 1 pitch. That's a swing and a miss. Counts 0-2. Swing, and that's against the shift, and a foul ball. Schwarber almost beat the shift and had himself extra bases, but not quite. Count still 0-2. Count now 1-2. Felix Hernandez still dealing on the mound for the Braves. High and in. Count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Felix Hernandez pitching to Kyle Schwarber. Count full, 3-2. Schwarber working this plate appearance out well. And David Bote would bat next. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. That's out number 1. Felix Hernandez has now struck out 8 batters.
Up next for the Cubs, the shortstop, David.
Hernandez to this point has let up 1 base runner on a walk. Other than that, it's seemed like he's been untouchable, and his pitch count efficient as well. Pitch misses down low to David Bodie, counts 1-0. Well, with Chris Bryant nearing free agency soon, David Bodie may very well be the next starting third baseman for the Braves in the upcoming decade. Not for the Braves, for the Cubs. He's gotten little tastes of the majors. He's been a bench bat more consistently than not. But now he's getting an opportunity to start at shortstop with Javier Baez on the injured list. Austin Riley throws to Freddie Freeman. That's out number 2.
Now batting, the right fielder.
So 2 outs, top of the 5th inning, and here comes the number 6 hitter, Jason Heyward. Hayward's been around the league for 11 years now. Made his major league debut with this very same Atlanta Braves team in 2010. As I mentioned before, in his first major league at bat, he hit a home run. Became an instant sensation. Played for the Braves from 2010 to 2014. Got traded in the 14-15 offseason to the Cardinals. Played there for a season. Helped the Cardinals to an 101-win season and a National League Central Division title, and then signed with the Cubs in the 15-16 offseason, and now he's a World Series champion with the Cubs. That flyout ends the top of the 5th inning. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on for the Cubs. After 4.5 innings, the Braves still have a 2-0 lead. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. Bottom of the 5th coming around, and the 8-9 one-hitters are due up in the Braves order. Austin Riley, Felix Hernandez, and Ronald Acuna Jr. Austin Riley struck out back in inning number 2. Austin Riley, a future piece of this Atlanta Braves team. He was one of their top prospects for a few seasons.
Nope, that's the ball.
Made his major league debut last year. And now is the starting third baseman in the middle of 2020. It didn't start out that way, but with Johan Camargo struggling, he's getting his opportunity to start. So far, he's been doing well. Enough to not only keep him on the Major League roster, but keep him in the starting lineup. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Swing and a miss. Quintana takes care of him on 3 pitches. Quintana now with 4 strikeouts in this game. And with that, Felix Hernandez will come to the plate. Well, the Braves haven't scored since the 1st inning. Quintana's settled down since then. He's given up a few hits and walked a few batters here and there, but other than that, he's pitched well so far. He's given up 1 earned run out of the 2 that he's given up total. But the Braves scored both their runs in the 1st inning. Descalzo to Rizzo, that's out number 2. But the Braves got a run after Ronald Acuna Jr. singled. Ozzie Albies reached base on an error. Then Freddie Freeman hit an RBI single, scoring Ronald Acuna Jr. And then Marcell Ozuna grounded out with Albies on 3rd and Freeman on 2nd. But Albies ended up scoring from 3rd base. So that's how the Braves scored their 2 runs back in inning number 1. Cubs yet to score against Felix Hernandez. But Quintana's gotten 2 outs in this bottom of the 5th inning, and now Ronald Acuna Jr. comes up to the plate. Couple singles and 2 official at-bats.
Off the plate, ball 1.
It's inside, counts 1-1.
Ball 2.
That's outside, counts 2 balls and 1 strike on Ronald Acuna Jr. Two ball, 1 strike pitch.
Too high.
Upstairs counts 3-1.
Ball four.
That's outside. Ball 4 and a 2-out walk issued to Ronald Acuna Jr., who's reached base all 3 times he's come to the plate.
Ozzie.
Now to bring up Ozzie Albies with 2 outs and a runner on first. Albies 0 for 2 in this game. Reached base once on an error. And then got out in his second at bat. Pickoff attempt. Rizzo's tag late. Ronald Acuna Jr., as much as he is a threat with a bat in his hands, he is also a threat on the bases. But that's not going to matter much because Albies sends one to the left. And it's 4-0 Braves. Albies has 11 home runs now this season. 104.3 miles per hour off the bat, and that traveled roughly 432 feet deep into the left center field seats. Oh, watch this again. That pitch looked right over the middle. Yep. It's possible Quintana was distracted by Acuna Jr. on first base and just ended up throwing a fat pitch. Ozzie Albies. Well, there's a reason why he's the reigning Silver Slugger Award winner among second basemen in the National League, because
The first baseman, number 5.
he has that kind of potential with his bat.
Freeman.
0-1.
So now Freddie Freeman up to the plate. Freeman drove in a run back in inning number 1. 1 for 2 officially off Quintana. So 2 runs in for the Braves, 2 outs, bases empty. Counts 1-1, and there's Alec Mills warming up in the Cubs bullpen. Jose Quintana's outing might be coming to an end. 3 earned runs given up in roughly 5 innings on the mound.
Oh, that's it.
3 earned runs out of 4 total scored by the Braves. Strike 2 at the top of the zone. Counts even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Base hit into left. That ball stayed fair. It's in the corner. Schwarber plays it. Freeman runs his way into second base.
The left fielder, number 20.
So a 2-out walk, a 2-out 2-run home run, and now a 2-out double. Gives the Braves 2 runs and a potential third for the inning, standing out in scoring position at second in the former Freeman, and with Marcelo Ozuna coming to the plate. A batter who has been known to hit well off left-handers. Quintana will be taken out of the game. Quintana can't finish 5 full innings. Pitches 4 2/3. Gives up 3 earned runs out of 4 total.
Now pitching for Chicago, number 30.
And Alec Mills will come to the plate. Freeman's still Quintana's responsibility on second base. So the scoreline not officially closed on Quintana yet, but there are the numbers for Alec Mills so far this year. 3.69 ERA. He's pitched 53 2/3 innings total. He's making his 31st appearance of the year. Doesn't have a losing decision yet this season. He's more of a long relief role type of pitcher for the Cubs. One ball, no strike count. Swing and a miss, counts 1-1 on Marcelo Ozuna, former Miami Marlin. Won a Gold Glove with the Marlins in 2017. Got traded to the Cardinals in the 2017-2018 offseason. Played with the Cards for 2 years and
That's ball 2.
hit free agency where he decided to sign with the Braves.
1 strike.
The very team that his Cardinals beat in the 2019 National League Division Series. 2 ball, 1 strike count. That's foul. The count even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Freddie Freeman in scoring position at second base. 2 ball, 2 strike count on the Braves left fielder. Pitch from Mills. Inside. That makes the count full on Ozuna. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Travis d'Arnaud would bat next. He's on deck. Alec Mills just came out of the bullpen and replaced Jose Quintana. Freeman still Quintana's responsibility. He's out there at second. That fouled away off Caratini, who doesn't seem too hurt by that. The count's still full 3-2. Another full count pitch. Ooh, that was over the middle of the plate, 92 miles per hour, and Ozuna couldn't get a good piece of the bat on the ball. Only able to foul it off. The count's still full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Again, that's fouled off. Another fastball thrown by Mills. Yet another full count pitch coming from Mills to Ozuna. Grounded left side, that again foul. 9 pitches thrown in this plate appearance. It's about to reach double digits. Another 3-2. Finally, the 10th one gets Ozuna to miss. And the 5th inning has come to an end. But Ozzy Albies extends the Braves' lead with this 2-run home run. After 5 full innings, the Braves have a 4-0 lead over the Cubs. We'll go to the 6th. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 7, 8, 9 hitters due up in the Cubs' order to begin this 6th inning. Ian Happ, Victor Caratini, and then the pitcher's spot still yet to be determined whether Alec Mills will bat in that number 9 spot or not. But the scoreline officially closed on Jose Quintana. He pitched 4 2/3 innings, and he gave up 3 earned runs out of 4 total. Quintana at the moment in line for the loss, though there's still a significant amount of game left to play for the Cubs. But where the hope stands for the Cubs offense is may not be too confident. Felix Hernandez has been pitching tremendously in this game so far. Was allowed just a walk. That was back in inning number 1. He's faced the minimum amount of batters required in this game because that walk was later terminated on a double play. And his team has given him a sizable lead. He's also coming into this 6th inning with 8 strikeouts. 2-2 pitch. Fly ball. Left field. Ozuna running back toward the wall, and it's gone. Just like that, the no-hitter is ended, as well as the shutout. Ian Happ has hit his 14th home run of the season. It's now a 3-run game. The Braves still on top, but the Cubs on the board. Potentially some more hope now with the fact that Felix Hernandez has been proven to not be invincible. He has been touched for the first time all night. Victor Caratini at the plate, 0 for 1 with a ground out back in the 3rd inning. Caratini, a switch hitter, batting from the left side. He and Miguel Amaya, the 2 catchers rostered on the Cubs Major League team, with Wilson Contreras on the injured list. But Amaya got to start initially, and he just hasn't really gotten his playing style in order yet. He struggled when he got his few starts. Got about 10 starts and didn't do very well, so David Ross benched him, and Victor Caratini's been the starter ever since. Fouled off the count, still 0-2 on Victor Caratini. No ball, 2-strike pitch. In the dirt.
Count is 1 and 2.
Counts 1-2. That will be in foul territory. Freeman lets it go, and Ronald Acuna Jr. didn't even try to chase it. Another 1-2 pitch. Flare it out toward left field. Marcell Ozuna there to make the catch. So that's out number 1 in the top of the 6th inning.
Alex.
Hey, don't forget you're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. If you want,
Your attention, please.
you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. MLB Virtual Network is the name. You can also check us out on Twitter at Virtual MLB's the handle. And my name's Nicholas Callis. Keep in mind that this is live and I'm a real person. So if you want to engage in conversation in the live chat about virtual league baseball, about what's going on in real Major League Baseball, or you just want a shout out, you can join the live chat and talk to either me or talk to any of the other viewers watching this video now. So keep that in mind. This is live commentary. That's strike 1. Albert Almora Jr. at the plate. Pinch hitting for Alec Mills. Batting with 1 out and the base is empty here in inning number 6. Counts 2-1. Felix Hernandez gave up a solo home run to Ian Happ leading out this inning. So the Cubs on the board, still down 3. Hitters count against Albert Almora Jr., and he hits that one well to center. Ender Inciarte running back for it, and the catch made. That's out number 2. So now 2 outs, top of the 6th inning.
Now batting, the first baseman.
And with that, Anthony Rizzo will come to the plate. Rizzo for 1 in 2 plate appearances. He walked back in the 1st inning. Was the only base runner for the Cubs up until this 6th inning when Ian Happ hit a home run. But Rizzo batting now with 2 outs and the base is empty in the top of the 6th against Felix Hernandez, who just threw his 81st pitch of the game. Toward the middle, and that beats the shift. Gets through the left side of the infield, up around second base. So Rizzo's on with a 2-out single.
Now batting.
The Cubs certainly not out of this game yet.
Descalso.
And it'll get them just a few extra base hits and maybe a long ball to get them right back in this game. Now here's Daniel Descalso. Not likely to provide the home run ball. However, he has been one of the best players not only with the Cubs but in the entire National League at getting on base. Has a .411 on base percentage after going 1 for 2 in this game. High fly ball. Right field. Toward the wall goes Acuna Jr. and he makes the catch. I was about to eat my words. But anyway, Ian Happ hit this solo home run and the Cubs are on the board. It's 4-1 going to the bottom of the 6th inning.
Your attention, please.
There's Trevor McGill coming out of the Cubs bullpen and he'll pitch.
Number 29.
McGill making his 44th appearance of the season.
McGill.
Has a .499 ERA and 52 in the 3rd innings pitched. And I'd like to correct myself. I said when Ian Happ hit his home run that was the end of Felix Hernandez's no-hitter.
The catcher.
But I forgot that Daniel Descalso did hit a single. And he had been erased after a double play. It was hit after he got on base. So my apologies for that. Felix Hernandez has given up a couple hits in his outing, but still, he's pitched masterfully. He's given up 1 run on a solo home run. And he's still at 8 strikeouts.
2 balls, no strike.
still pitching for the Braves, but McGill pitching now for the Cubs. 4-1 score. 5, 6, 7 hitters due up for the Braves in this half inning. Travis d'Arnaud, Ender Inciarte, and then Dansby Swanson. 2 ball, no strike pitch. That's foul. Counts 2-1. Trevor McGill, a younger pitcher on this Cubs team, comes in situations like this just to get outs and typically pitches when his team's down. This young man has a lot of promise. Very well might close for the Cubs in future years if he keeps his production up and maybe improves his game. Full count on Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher of the Braves. Swing and a miss. Challenged him with a high fastball, and d'Arnaud swung at it and missed.
Now batting, center fielder.
Now check this out again.
Inciarte.
Yeah, it would have been difficult to hit anyway. Looked like it might have been a strike, too. It was just at the top of the zone. A challenge you fastball. Challenge works out for McGill. 1 out, bottom of the 6th, and now here's Ender Inciarte. On 1 pitch, he grounds it toward the middle. Descalzo to Rizzo. That's out number 2 now in the bottom of the 6th inning. But for the Cubs, Jose Quintana started. He pitched 4 2/3 innings. Gave up 3 earned runs out of 4 scored by the Braves. Alec Mills came in. He got the final out. Got the final out of the 5th inning. Then was pinch hit for, and now Trevor McGill's in to pitch the 6th, and so far he has 2 outs. At strike 1, counts even 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's a ball.
2-1's the count on Swanson. And don't forget, we have one more featured game coming up later tonight at 9:20 Eastern Time. It's an AL West battle between the Athletics and the Mariners. That'll be featured here on Major League Baseball's virtual network. And don't forget, we always have 3 featured games every day for you to enjoy. The only exception will be the All-Star break next week. But other than that, we typically have 3 games guaranteed for you every day so that you can enjoy baseball. And we try to feature every team in Major League Baseball at least once every week. So no matter what team you're rooting for, you can follow them to some extent here on MLB Virtual Network. And even if your team's not featured, we always do a results and standings update at the end of every night. Just to update you on scores of games that have happened all throughout the league. And we also update you on where the standings are in all 6 divisions, as well as the 2 wild card standings. And we update you on league leaders, too, so you can follow who the best players are in each league. Swanson strikes out there against McGill. McGill sets the Braves down 1-2-3 in his first inning out of the bullpen. After 6 full innings, it's 4-1. The Braves lead the Cubs. Ooh, looks like there's going to be a change. Here comes Brian Snitker out of the dugout for the Braves. And let's listen in and see what the double switch will be.
Your attention, please. The changes for Atlanta. Now pitching and batting in the 6th spot. Number 55, Chris Martin. Now playing center and batting 9. Number 23, Adam Duvall.
So an interesting decision by the Braves, double switch. Ender Inciarte is now out of the game. Adam Duvall moves into center field, batting in the number 9 spot, and the pitcher's spot moves into the 6th spot in the order. And Duvall, known more for playing the corner outfield positions and not known for his range as an outfielder. So an interesting decision by Brian Snitker, but Duvall likely to bat in the bottom half of this 7th inning, and Chris Martin now on the mound for the Braves. Felix Hernandez pitched 6 full innings, struck out 8 batters, gave up 1 earned run on a couple hits. And Martin, right out of the bullpen, gets the strikeout of Chris Bryant. And that'll bring up the Cubs cleanup hitter, Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber struck out a couple times coming into this at-bat.
Nope. Ball one.
Chris Martin throwing in the mid-90s. 96 on that last pitch. Might be a relief for the Cubs that Felix Hernandez got taken out of the game. Hernandez was sharp through 6 innings. Kind of faltered in that top of the 6th inning, which might have been the reason why he got taken out. Just ran out of gas, but nearly 6 masterful innings. 2-ball, no strike count. And that's out to right and foul. Schwarber got ahead of that pitch. Counts 2-1. On the ground toward the middle, Martin comes off the mound and throws to Freeman. That's out number 2. And Eric Ledford, since you mentioned that, I haven't mentioned that in a while, so just reminding everybody else watching, the Cubs still trying to make a comeback and make a run at the NL Central Division lead. Entering play, the Cubs are 7 games back of the Cardinals for first place with a 47-46 record. And the Cardinals beat the Rays earlier on today, so if the Cubs lose, but the Cardinals win, the Cubs will move further back in the standings. And depending on how the Brewers do, the Brewers could pass the Cubs if the Brewers win their game today. So this will have a rippling effect in the NL Central. And the Braves are still competing for the NL East. And a wild card spot for that matter. But the Braves, 50-44, 3 games back. The Marlins in second place with a 50-43 record, 2.5 games back. And the Nationals are first in the NL East with a 53-41 record. So this game does have implications for both teams. Counts 2-0.
2-0.
See Will Smith and Mark Melancon warming up in the bullpen for the Braves. Smith the closer, Melancon one of the setup pitchers. Strike right over the middle of the plate. Counts 2-1 on Jason Hayward, the right fielder of the Cubs. Swinging a miss.
Count 2-2.
Counts even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chris Martin with the pitch. Just a bit low. Counts full. 3-2. Three ball, 2 strike pitch. Runner going from first. And that's fouled off, so everything will reset. Count stays full, 3-2. Martin's 3-2. The runner goes. Strike 3 called at the top of the zone. Hayward frozen. And the top of the 7th inning is over. The Braves leave a runner on. Excuse me, the Cubs leave a runner on. But after 6.5 innings, the Braves lead it 4-1. Here comes Ryan Tepera out of the bullpen, making his 52nd appearance of the season. Has a 4.44 ERA and 50 2/3 innings pitched. And he'll face the 8-9 one-hitters in the Braves order to begin this half inning. Austin Riley. And then it'll be Adam Duvall and then Ronald Acuna Jr. Adam Duvall came in as a part of a double switch that moved the pitcher's spot to number 6 in the order, taking out Ender Inciarte, and Adam Duvall came in to play center field and bat in the number 9 spot. So it helps out the Braves offense a bit. They still have a 3-run lead, with a few more opportunities to gain on that lead. The Cubs not out of the game yet. But this game moves on, and they're trailing by 3. Swing and a miss, counts 1-2.
2 strikes.
The Braves got 2 of their runs in the first inning. Freddie Freeman hit an RBI single. Marcelo Ozuna also had an RBI ground out. Then Ozzie Albies a couple innings ago hit a 2-run home run that made it 4-1.
The batter.
Now Ryan Tepera
Adam.
gets a strikeout straight out of the bullpen. Austin Riley couldn't hit that. That's the first out of this bottom of the 7th inning. And with that, here comes Adam Duvall. 208 hitter with 5 home runs and 16 RBIs entering play. Adam Duvall, a former San Francisco Giant and Cincinnati Red. Now playing for the Braves, and not a regular starter, but comes off the bench, has a good power bat. Also a strong defensive player when he's at the corner outfield positions, but doesn't have too much range, which is why it's debatable why Brian Snitker would take out Ender Inciarte, who has good range out in center, and replace him with Adam Duvall when the team's already ahead. But we'll see how it pans out. Counts 2-1 on Duvall. That's strike 2 on the inside edge. Counts even now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Got him. 2 outs now on the bottom of the 7th inning. Tepera has 2 strikeouts right out of the bullpen.
The right fielder, number 13, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Top of the order now up for the Braves. It's Ronald Acuna Jr. Reached base in all of his 3 previous plate appearances. Singled twice and walked once. His average now up to .334. One ball, no strike pitch. That's strike 1. Ronald Acuna Jr., one of baseball's best players, and proving it here. Made his debut a couple seasons ago.
I got to count 1 and 2.
Became an instant sensation in Atlanta, and is only built on what is projected to be a very solid, respectable, and even outstanding career if he keeps his numbers up. That's fouled away. The count's still 1-2.
That's ball 2.
Outside just a bit.
2 balls.
That pitch had too much break on it. Count evens up 2 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Ryan Tepera strikes out the side in order. So 1 inning out of the pen, and Tepera has 3 strikeouts. After 7 full innings, it's the Braves 4 and the Cubs 1. We'll go to the 8th.
Your attention, please. Now pitching for
Here comes Shane Green out of the bullpen for the Braves.
Shane.
Green was acquired by the Braves in a trade with the Detroit Tigers. Shane Green, a former All-Star in the American League, as we take a look at Ian Happ. Hitting this solo home run back in inning number 6. The first run scored off Felix Hernandez. The only run scored by the Cubs up to this point. 7, 8, 9 hitters due up in this half inning for the Cubs. Ian Happ, Victor Caratini, and then the pitcher spot. Uh-oh. Whoa, man, Ian Happ has 2 home runs in this game. That clears the bullpens out in center field. 458 feet. 107.5 miles per hour off the bat. Happ now with 15 home runs on the season. It's now a 2-run game. Let's look where this pitch was. Not a poorly placed pitch. It did catch a lot of the plate, but it was lower in the zone. Still, Happ gets under it, finds a way to square it up, and I mean, look how far that ball went. Cleared the bullpens out in center field. So it's now 4-2. Atlanta still leads. Ian Happ responsible for both Cubs runs scored. Now here's Victor Caratini. Takes ball one down low. The Braves have found a way, though, to acquire a great bullpen. They traded for Shane Green. They traded for Mark Melancon a couple seasons ago. They also just signed Will Smith, who formerly closed for the Giants. Smith just signed with the Braves this past offseason. As that's ripped out toward right field, Acuna Jr. can't make the play. Caratini stops at first base. Man, the fear of Acuna Jr.'s arm, too much for Caratini to run extra bases. But back-to-back hits for the Cubs, and with that, a pinch hitter comes off the bench. And will bat for the Cubs, it's Nico Hoerner. Hoerner, one of the top prospects for the Cubs, made his debut last season. And on the Major League roster this season, he primarily was called up because Jason Kipnis got hurt early in the year, and Kipnis no longer on the Major League roster for the Cubs since they have their team fully formed now with all of the starters that they want on the roster. But Hoerner in the Major Leagues now on the bench and getting a little bit more of a taste of Major League Baseball. He can't beat out the back end. That's a double play. Dansby Swanson stepped on second base himself and threw to first well. Hoerner, who runs well out at first base on the back end. You see Caratini out at second. Hoerner out at first, and with that, the top of the order resurfaces again for the Cubs. It's Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo 1 for 2. He had a single back in inning number 6. So the Cubs had a great start to the inning. A home run and a single, but a double play makes it 2 outs and nobody on. But just mentioning a solid Braves bullpen, especially at the back end. Shane Green, Mark Melancon back there. Darren O'Day on the team as well, and Will Smith being the closer. It's an elite bullpen full of veterans. And I believe that of those 4 pitchers, all of them made an all-star appearance at one time or another in their career. 0-2 pitch.
Ball 1.
Counts 1 and 2.
Count is 1 and 2.
Green was an all-star with the Tigers. Melancon was an all-star with the Pirates. Smith was an all-star with the Giants. And O'Day was an all-star when he was back with the Orioles. Fouled off, the count still 1 and 2. Fouled off, count still 1 and 2 on Rizzo, the first baseman of the Cubs, also a former all-star himself. Outside, count even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Too high, counts full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Daniel Descalso would bat next, he's on deck. The Braves lead this one 4-2, top of the 8th, 2 outs, full count on Rizzo with the bases empty. Shane Green in his first inning out of the bullpen. And he walks Rizzo. It's the second time Rizzo has reached base in this game, or actually the third total, including the hit he had earlier. But he's walked twice, singled once, putting him on base 3 times. And so 2 outs, top of the 8th, runner on first, and Daniel Descalso up to the plate. Descalso, a former St. Louis Cardinal, Colorado Rocky, and Arizona Diamondback. Played his first full season with the Cubs in 2019, but he signed with them in the 2018-19 offseason. Has been a valuable, versatile infielder for this team, though he's mainly played second. And this season doing well by getting on base frequently. He has an on-base percentage over 400. That includes his plate appearances today. Towards center, Duvall makes the catch, and the top of the 8th inning is over. But Ian Happ hit his second home run off Shane Green to begin this 8th inning. That's his second home run of the game, and he's accounted for both Cubs' runs in this one. After 7.5 innings of play, the Braves have a 4-2 lead over the Cubs. Here's Jeremy Jeffress coming out of the bullpen. He'll pitch now for the Cubs in the bottom of the 8th, making his 46th appearance of the season. Former Texas Ranger and Milwaukee Brewer. 2, 3, 4 hitters due up for the Braves in this half inning. Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman, and Marcell Ozuna. Ozzie Albies responsible for 2 of the 4 Braves runs scored. He hit a 2-run home run back in the 5th inning, and he also contributed to the 2-run first inning. He reached base on an error and later scored on Marcell Ozuna's RBI groundout. So he's been productive, putting the ball in play, and not only has scored a run, but has driven in a couple. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Inside counts 2-1. Jose Quintana got the hook after pitching into the 5th inning. He got 2 outs in the 5th and then got replaced right after Ozzie Albies hit the 2-run home run. But Quintana gave up 3 earned runs out of 4 scored off of him. And he's in line for the loss at this moment. That's pending a Cubs comeback. Three ball, 1 strike pitch. Down low, that's ball 4. A leadoff walk issued by Jeremy Jeffress.
Now batting, first baseman.
And with that, Freddie Freeman will come to the plate. Freeman has doubled and singled in this game. Got the 2 easier parts of his cycle. Not that that matters, though. He's not likely to get another at-bat after this unless this game were to go into extra innings. He would need 2 at-bats, and he'd have to hit a triple and a home run. So, not exactly sure why I mentioned that. But, no ball, 1 strike count on a reigning All-Star in the National League. And likely to make the NL roster for this All-Star game coming up. Fouled off the count 0-2. Freeman, a consistent hitter for the better part of his entire career. Batting here with Albies on first and nobody out. His team also up by 2. Fouled off the count, still 0-2. Jeremy Jeffress playing his first season with the Cubs. Again, he's been a former Texas Ranger and Milwaukee Brewer. Was a part of a great back end of the Brewers' 2018 bullpen. It was Jeffress, Hader, and Knebel. And those 3 were nearly untouchable. It's inside, counts even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jeffress spent the better part of last season with the Rangers, and when he hit free agency this past offseason, he decided to sign with the Cubs. And joins not as strong of a bullpen, but pretty good bullpen that includes Craig Kimbrell, Ryan Tepera, Trevor McGill, and a few others. Strike 3 caught at the top of the zone. Freeman strikes out against Jeffress. That's out number 1. Freeman not too happy with the call, but doesn't dispute it too much. You be the judge. According to our strike zone outline, that looked a bit high, but again, wherever it crossed the plate is up to and only up to the home plate umpire. No ball, 1 strike count on Marcell Ozuna, the left fielder of the Braves, who's 0 for 3 in this one. He does have an RBI, though. He grounded out back in the 1st inning, which led to a run. Ozzie Albies scored from 3rd base. Just doesn't have any hits, though, to show for his performance. Just a bit inside. Count now 1-2. Marcell Ozuna, a former All-Star himself. Numbers aren't good enough for him to make it this year, but still a valuable piece of this Braves team and is regarded as one of the more feared hitters in the National League. Strike 3 call. That was a hanging breaking ball. Ozuna could not pull the trigger, and you see the little head punch. Hit himself in the head for not swinging at that one. Look at that. Well, Jeffress needs to thank his lucky stars that Ozuna didn't take a big hack at that pitch. That's out number 2. Now here's Travis d'Arnaud. d'Arnaud 0 for 2. He walked back in inning number 4, and another breaking ball over the middle of the plate. That's strike 1. Ozzie Albies is on first base. He walked to open up this half inning. Then Freddie Freeman and Marcell Ozuna struck out. Now d'Arnaud down 0-1. Just a bit low, counts 1-1. d'Arnaud, former catcher with the New York Mets, Los Angeles Dodgers, Tampa Bay Rays. Now catching for the Atlanta Braves. Runner goes from first. Outside, throw down from Caratini. Tag applied by David Bote. Or excuse me, that's Daniel Descalso applying the tag, but either way, Albies called safe. Just got his hand in there. Watch this in slow motion. Barely got his hand in there. Descalso tried for a bit more emphasis on the tag to maybe bait a call. Not that that would matter anyway because there's instant replay, but Albies safe, and now d'Arnaud out to left field. Schwarber makes the catch. Though the stolen base winds up to be a moot point. Bottom of the 8th inning over. No runs, no hits, 1 walk in the inning, and 1 runner left on for the Braves. Last chance for the Cubs coming up in the top of the 9th. It's a 4-2 Braves lead. And here's Brian Snitker coming out again, which very well might indicate another double switch. So stay tuned and listen in, see what the specifics are of it.
The changes for Atlanta. Now pitching and batting in the 5th spot. Number 51, Will Smith. Now catching and batting 5th. Number 25, Tyler Flowers.
So there's a new catcher in the game for the Braves. Tyler Flowers is now doing the catching for Will Smith, who's come out of the bullpen.
Count 1-0.
Will Smith, a former All-Star closer with the San Francisco Giants. As mentioned, he's new to the Braves organization, but his inaugural season has been pretty good. He's 4th in the National League in saves with 29. As in his arms slinging at his release point. Throws in the mid-90s. Very talented relief pitcher. And this is a save situation for him, so if he earns his save in this one, he'll reach the 30 plateau. Got a difficult part of the order, though. Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, and David Bote. The first 3 hitters due up. So the pitcher spot goes back into the number. Or it stays in the... Hold on, I'll get the specifics of it for you in a minute. But Bryant strikes out swinging. That's out number 1 in the top of the 9th.
Up next to the Cubs, the left fielder, Kyle Schwarber.
Got him to chase up and in. Kyle Schwarber will come to the plate now, and Will Smith has a distinct advantage. Schwarber not great hitting off of left-handed pitching, and not to mention, not only is Smith a left-handed pitcher, but he's an elite closer. Down low, counts 1-0. But Tyler Flowers is batting and catching now for Travis d'Arnaud. So Tyler Flowers is now batting in the number 6 spot in the order, just in case that were to apply if this game were to go to extra innings. But Will Smith is now in the number 5 spot. That's where the pitcher spot has moved to. So just for everyone's reference. Well, 1 out, top of the 9th. Bryant just struck out, and it's a 1-1 count on Kyle Schwarber. Ground ball left side against the shift. There's Austin Riley around the shortstop position. Throws to Freeman. And now the Cubs have 1 out to work with. 2 outs, top of the 9th inning. Bote 1 for 3. He singled back in inning number 7. Will Smith needing 1 more out. before the Cubs can score 2 runs to earn this save. It would be his 30th of the year. And he gets ahead of Bodie immediately. That's strike 1. Will Smith, other than pitching for the Giants, also had a notable time with the Milwaukee Brewers. Wasn't their closer, but he was a pretty good left-hander for them coming out of their bullpen. Didn't really break out, though, until he joined the Giants. And with the Giants rebuilding, they elected not to sign Will Smith back, and that's when the Braves were able to pick him up in free agency. It's a no-ball, 2-strike count on the Cubs' interim shortstop. Swing and a miss, Will Smith. Earns the save. And there's Felix Hernandez in the dugout for the Braves, getting handshakes. He earned the win in this one after pitching 6 full innings, striking out 8, and giving up 1 earned run. The Braves win this one 4-2. This was game 1 of a 3-game weekend series. This is the last series that both teams will play in before the All-Star break rolls around. And the Braves open up with a Friday game 1 victory. Felix Hernandez got the win. Jose Quintana got the loss. Will Smith earned his 30th save of the season in this game. He's still 4th in the National League in save totals, but to get to 30, pretty good accomplishment for a single season, and he certainly has the rest of the season to build on that total. Quick scoring recap for you, though. The Braves got out to an early 2-0 lead in the first inning. They were helped by a couple errors. But Freddie Freeman had an RBI single, and Marcelo Ozuna grounded out, but a run scored, giving him an RBI. Then in the bottom of the 5th inning, the Braves expanded upon their lead with a 2-run home run from Ozzie Albies. That made it 4-0. The Cubs got their first run in the top of the 6th inning when Ian Happ took Felix Hernandez deep. That was Hernandez's only earned run given up. It's 4-1 after that point. Then in the 8th inning, Chris Martin was pitching, and he gave up a solo. Or excuse me, it was Shane Green pitching. Shane Green gave up a solo home run to Ian Happ for his second home run. That made it 4-2. And then the Cubs could not score in the top of the 9th off of Will Smith. They fell short 2 runs, and they ended up losing. It's a pretty even scoreline, too. Each team had 6 hits in this one, but the Cubs, committing 2 errors in the first inning, helped the Braves to score. The Braves kept piling on, and the Cubs' offense really couldn't get it going. Ian Happ was the only bright spot. Again, Ian Happ went 2 for 3. Both of his hits were home runs, and he was responsible for the only 2 Cubs runs scored in this game. Ozzie Albies gets player of the game for hitting that 2-run home run in the bottom of the 5th inning, which turned out to be important because if he didn't hit that home run, the Cubs would have tied the game in the 8th. But the Braves able to win game 1 of this 3-game weekend series before the All-Star break. This has been a presentation of Major League Baseball's Virtual Network. This game and all of our games are brought to you by MLB The Show 20. My name is Nicholas Callis. Check us out on YouTube, MLB Virtual Network, the name. You can subscribe for notifications on when we go live and when we upload videos. You can also follow our Twitter page at Virtual MLB is the name, where you can get updates that will further enhance your experience of this virtual Major League Baseball league. But my name is Nicholas Callis saying so long from Truist Park. Don't forget we have one more game coming up tonight. It'll be the Athletics and the Mariners in an AL West matchup. That game scheduled to start in about a half hour at 9:20 Eastern Time. But so long from Truist Park. Once again, the final score: the Atlanta Braves beat the Chicago Cubs 4-2.